I will give you a minute now just to close your eyes and to reconnect to that specific moment and where you were, with who you were, and what happened in that moment. So you can close your eyes and try to bring back that memory and to feel what you felt in that moment. And then when you feel satisfied and you feel it is alive on you again, I would ask you to open your eyes and write down what you would say to the other person, um, in to ask for understanding, to ask for empathy, how you would approach this person in order to achieve it. And in the case you wrote something that it was a trigger of the other person, then you can write down what you would answer to this person to give them the support that they needed.
Can you say again to write down what?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to say, just so we change the words a bit? Maybe you will
Sure.
be clearer then.
Yeah, you could also do it in Portuguese if you want. Anna is, is Portuguese, maybe
Yeah.
that will help. So maybe you're a better person to do that than I am.
Yeah. But maybe she's not the only one who didn't have it
Okay,
clear.
yes, thanks, for sure. Okay, so now thinking about this, this situation and this person, write down how you would ask them to give you empathy or understanding, how you would ask them to be seen. Or if you're thinking about another person being the one that's triggered, you write down how you would offer them empathy and understanding, what you would say to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, how we would approach to resolve the situation. And it's important that at this moment you don't, it's not a moment to try to select the best words ever that you would approach this person. It's just like the way you normally do, the way that you usually respond to the situation. It's okay, it's not to look for the best answer now. All right, so I give some time more for Mel and Anna to finish. João looks like he is. Yeah. Okay. Mel is good. All right. So now, I would like you to. I invite you to. You can do it by the chat, or you can speak up. But to bring us the this situation and your answer, and we want to talk very briefly about the situation. So you can just say like, it was at work, someone told me this, or very brief the situation description, just to give an idea of what it was, and then to tell us what did you write that was your answer to your approach to resolve the situation. So you can write in the chat, or you can speak up now and let the rest of the group know. Yeah, whoever feels.
Anyone wants to start?
I think you want, Anna.
You're a mind reader. um, no, but I was asking if anyone wants to start. No?
Anna, feel free to go on. You can start.
Okay. Well, it was on a course, like a workshop. Um, Actually, you were there. It reminded me that place. And there was a moment where I felt that I wasn't being heard. And what I wrote down was, like literally, what I wrote down was, um, look, I'm hearing you, what you are saying, but I'm a person and you are just hurting me on this moment.
Thank
That's
you,
what I
Anna.
felt.
Thank you for sharing and for being the first person to speak up as well. It can be a vulnerable position, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Mel and Jean, feel free to share as well if you want. Feel free not to share as well.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it was at work, and when I arrived, I was late as always, and I forgot to do something, but I thought it was not so important because nobody told me it was very, very important. And when I arrived, two people were already arguing about the situation and talking about me in a bad way, and well, telling how shit I am. And then I would answer, yeah, because they didn't say they insult, but they didn't they ask no question. So I would say I would like to answer to your question or to your problem. If you would be interested to hear about it, I wish I could talk with you egally, in an equal way. Let me know if you would like to have a talk with me. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Mel.
Okay. Me, it's a bit special because I couldn't find a situation where someone would have triggered me. Couldn't remember.
Your life is too good, Jean.
No, but then I remember that actually I'm really good at this job of triggering myself. So it's a self-trigger situation, and it actually happens quite often, but I manage every time better response to it. It's like often I'm in a situation where I try to know everything, to grasp every part of what I meet. Then part of myself comes and just show me again that I just can't know everything. I can't be all knowing, and I think I'm not really stupid, but anyway, well, it's and it hurts, and what I wrote down as the actually what I would need is that time is just a stop of the words and just a hug, something like telling me uh, I'm here and uh, no matter you matter. Myself.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, John, for bringing this point that is very important as well, which is self-empathy. Yeah, how we resolve the conflicts that we and the tensions that we raise with ourselves. This is a very important point because from this we can unfold to have or not empathy with other people, to have energy to offering it. Yeah. Do you want to say something, Jess?
Almost exactly what you just said. Actually, I was thinking the same thing. That yeah, this like Jean, your example really touched me a lot because yeah, self-empathy is something I often struggle with a lot, and as you say, I also trigger myself a lot or have unresolved issues with myself a lot of the time. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. I think it's yeah, as you said, Eddie, as valuable, if not more valuable, maybe than practicing empathy for others. I think it has to start in ourselves. So yeah, happy to have that brought up.
Yeah. So um, I wrote here some questions that that it was starting points for us to explore the subject of empathy, and it is related to everything, to all the three examples that you have given as well. So Jess, do you feel like taking some of these questions now
Yeah,
and
sure.
bringing them up? Yeah.
I
Can I
actually.
just ask something?
Mm,
Because so we talked about the situation and what we would say,
Mm-hmm.
but like how can I say? You're giving some feedback about the answers at the end, or it's just to ourselves to reflect afterwards
Um,
I
about the answers that we wrote down.
mm,
yeah, I think the some of our thoughts probably will come up in this question and answer
mm,
session that we're going to go into now. But also, like, if at the end of that question and answer it doesn't feel like it's been like as useful as you would like it to be, then we can also have more specific like workshopping or feedback or role playing, whatever feels organic, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and we will explore here together some questions that hopefully, on the answers, it will bring light to what we just did, um, and we will explore it together. So one very important thing is that me and Jazz, we're bringing to you our experience and our what we lived, but you should not rely on us as an authority of the subject, and as two people who will tell you what is good to say or to write or not. This is not our goal. Our goal is to explore empathy with you and to bring to you what we have learned so far. So we will look at these questions and answer them, give an attempt, and always feel free to give your own opinion, give your own answer to that question. And also, please write down in the chat or speak up questions that you have and that you would like to get it answered on the subject of empathy. I also thought about the situation of my own, and I felt on my workplace. I'm working here right now in Switzerland. There was a moment where there was a little confusion, and everybody was asked to make a circle and talk unless me. because I don't speak German very well. So it was like, Eddie, just keep working while we make a circle and discuss. And this triggered me. And I really felt like, oh, I need people to look at me and to, to value me and to, yeah, to see me as a person as important as well in this project. And um, yeah, the way that, that I would probably approach if I didn't give a lot of thought on that, just answering to the situation, would probably be like, uh, hey guys, I'm a worker as you do. I am the same thing that you are. Can I also stop and listen to the conversation? Can you translate the important points for me? Because I don't think it's fair that I am here building and working while you are all looking at the wall, because we work in a wall, standing there and talking about it. So that would be probably the way that I would approach if I didn't think about it before. Yeah.
Thanks, Eddie.
All right. So, Jess, I asked to you, but actually you can bounce that back to everybody as you want. What is empathy actually?
Why are we here
And
talking about
what is empathy and what is important about it? Why should we be talking about it?
it? So I'll answer my understanding, but whoever wants to can feel free to also chip in. My understanding of empathy, and it's an understanding that has grown a lot over the last couple of years, is just simply like being present with what is, like being present with somebody else's emotions or my emotions, if that's the case, if it's self-empathy, and just like making space without judgment or without like needing to fix it or without like resisting it, just like being and like accepting and holding space for what is there. I think it's important, as I said sort of in my little introduction, like I want to live in a world where we have more bridges of connection, where we can peacefully and harmoniously understand each other, and I don't know, not get so crazy about feeling things, and I don't know, be able to be with each other, like make space, feel acceptance for and by each other. This is my understanding of empathy and why it's a valuable and important thing. Would anybody else, including you, Eddie, like to give their understandings of empathy?
Yes.
I'd really love to hear if anyone wants to share.
Go on, John.
I mean, it's not really far from what you say. For me, empathy is really is a wonderful tool uh, that has grown with uh, well, that seems to be have grown with humans, and, at least with me, since I'm the only point of experience of humanity I have. Uh, but so this, for me, empathy is this wonderful tool of permits us to live better together. And since I believe uh, living together is the only mission we have on this planet, uh, seems like a perfect tool for that, and so the perfect. Uh, so really, this is like a music instrument and can use to join the symphony, and I like to yeah, better my understanding of the instrument of the play, and how can I join and put my melody with everyone else, and voilà,
Thank,
instrument tool.
thank you for your contribution, Jean. And this links to something else as well. That is, yeah, we could see empathy as a need, or also as a tool, as you're saying, Jean. And as a tool, it would be a strategy that we find to connect and to live harmoniously together. And maybe the most powerful tool for that, because it can bring understanding, and we can, with empathy, we can understand what is the basic thing that is alive in all of us. um, and so this brings me to another question, which is, so how can looking at it as a skill, as John said, to play guitar, for instance, is a skill, and you practice guitar and you get better on that. And for practicing guitar, there are exercises for that, which, like, for instance, you take your fingers and you do like this, or you press 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I ask now, and I bring it to you, Jess, if you want to give a first answer. So how can we practice the skill of empathy? How can we practice that? And how can we actually ask for it if it is a strategy? So yeah, how can we practice that, and how can we perform that, let's say?
This is a really nice question. I think, I mean, as you said, like with anything that's being learned, like there are sort of steps with that it takes to learn it. And so I love, there's a quote from Marshall Rosenberg, the founder or the inventor of nonviolent communication. He says, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And I love this quote because it reminds me I don't have to perfectly know how to give empathy. That intention, if I find it valuable and important, I can start doing it and fuck it up, and it's going to be fine because I'm moving in the direction of empathy. I'm just going to write this down. It is worth doing poorly. And so I think, like, for me, the way I learn sort of emotional skills is first by just noticing when I'm not doing it. Like in the example that I gave with my partner, like now when I look back at it, I see that I wasn't asking for empathy and I wasn't being empathetic towards him, and I wasn't being empathetic towards myself either. What I was doing was bargaining or defending or making excuses, you know, like there were, or like trying to fix something, trying to fix the situation. First, I think it's like looking back in hindsight and seeing the situations like, oh, in that moment, I could have, like, I needed empathy, or the other person needed empathy, and I didn't do it. I didn't give it. I didn't live that empathy. And then it comes maybe like, you know, after practicing noticing for a while, I think after a while it comes into like, in the moment, I can think like, okay, this is a moment where I need empathy. And maybe I'll still choose not to give it because I'm so wrapped up in my anger or in my frustration or in my sadness that I'm like, fuck it, like I'm not gonna give the energy that it takes to give empathy. Maybe that's the second point, like just seeing it in the moment. And then like eventually there'll be a moment where I think like, okay, this is a moment where I want to give empathy, and I'll try. And maybe I'll accidentally end up giving advice instead, or maybe I'll become so uncomfortable with just holding space that I'll try to sympathize and take the other person's emotions into myself. But it's like this step-by-step process, and you know, eventually I'll get to a point where I can just like be at peace holding space for whatever is there. And you know, maybe the next day I'll go back to like defending myself again, but it's just this process, you know, where it's not a linear kind of thing, but it does get more natural and more innate over time. There's another quote I really like that's, we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our training. And for me, this means like, you know, in those moments where there's pressure, like we don't necessarily like immediately know how to do empathy, for example. What we do is we practice it daily. Like it's a constant choice to walk this path, which means sometimes, you know, the path goes like this, and that's okay. But yeah, it's more about making it making it part of ourselves. And the other part of the question was how do we offer empathy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, no, how do we ask for empathy was the other. Sorry, Anna, go ahead.
The last phrase you said, we don't rise to the occasion.
Yeah, we fall to the level of our training. It's in the chat now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. You can I give a word, Jess?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so we're talking here about things that I also wanted to ask already, and so we are talking that we are saying that empathy is a presence. That's what I heard as well from us, and so actually for me to train empathy is to train to be present also, and to have the focus on the other person, and to be able to, but there are two works here that because in order to be open and to be able to see the other person without being focusing on ourselves, we also need to be aware of what is going on inside of us, and to be able to work on that, so that we can be looking at the external world or at someone and being completely present to whatever is happening in that person without bringing ourselves on the situation. This is also how I see empathy. And so I would say that practicing empathy is also practicing self-awareness, is also maybe meditating, is thinking about what we are thinking, thinking about the way we act, the way that we relate to the people, our repetitive personality, let's say. So being aware of all that comes with our ID is a very important point that can allow us after to be present and to identify where I am stepping in, let's say. And the other thing, the other practice is active listening, is for us to just practicing hearing and receiving what someone is bringing to us, and really just allowing ourselves to be filled with the other persons. Um, and this we can practice, and we can allow ourselves to make mistakes, and you, as you were saying as well, we don't know how to do that. We are not the masters of that. Nobody learned it at school, which is quite sad. So we have to allow ourselves to make mistakes, and better try to do than not. So quite often we are trying to offer empathy, and maybe we are not doing the best way or the way that answers to the need of the other person. But if we try it and we give the focus to the other person, we can learn from this person. The person will show us the way that we should go if we are focusing on them, and they will show signals and everything, and tell us what they need, and we are always trying to find what they are seeing, what they are needing in that very moment, between the lines of the things that they are saying, and we'll find a way. And more we practice this, more able we become to play the guitar.
Yeah, thank you so much for adding that, Eddie. Yeah, that's such a beautiful reminder. Like, I think in every moment, we're all sending messages to each other, and sometimes they're hidden, and we have to like kind of look for clues. But yeah, the clues are always there, as you say. Like, people are always telling us like how we can, like what they need, what they're missing, what they're wanting. And yeah, if we can like have the presence and the mindfulness and like the grounding to remain like to remain standing in that, and like offer presence for what's coming towards us, and like not getting lost in maybe what's being like presented at face value, but look behind that, look a bit deeper, look at the human behind it. Yeah, then there's always a clue, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be aware and pay attention to these signals is also a very important point. And we make signals all the time with our whole body. as if we are being understood, and or if there is something that is bothering us. And one common thing that we do when we feel like we are being heard is to do something like to give a deep breath. This relaxing state is quite often when we are telling a story to someone, we are looking for understanding, for listening, and we are getting it. And when we are getting it, we quite often we release the tension. And we as listeners, we can be focusing on this tension that the person brings to us. And I'm not using the word tension in a negative way. Tension is just a tension for me. And we are focusing on that and seeing how it is going. um, and if people look at other sides, if they look at their watch, if they lean behind and do like this, um, these are body signals that can show us that the person is not finding this need that they are looking for. Or even we say something and they tell you, but that's not what I'm saying, that's not what I'm looking for. We sometimes, no, but that was not how it was, or whatever. And then we can learn from the persons. And I I bring another question because Jess already started to talk about it. There are common pitfalls or things that we commonly do when offering empathy. And yeah, and why I want to talk about it, because I'm not saying these things are not important and that you should not do them, but they don't answer normally for the need of empathy from someone. Um, and normally they can come after the person felt heard. So I invite Jess to name some of the things that we commonly do when offering empathy. And yeah, these pitfalls.
Yeah, I think this is maybe my biggest struggle with wanting to or trying to offer empathy, that I often move into one of these things instead. And for me, a lot of the time it's giving advice, which, like you said, Eddie, has a place. Like it can be important if the other person wants it and when the other person wants it. But it isn't the same thing as just being present with somebody. And I notice that I feel uncomfortable sometimes when somebody comes to me with strong emotions and I just want to fix them. I just want to make them better, but that's actually more about me and my discomfort than actually being present for them. So yeah, advice is one that has a place, but as you say, it doesn't
Maybe
necessarily.
you should do this.
Yeah, should. Oh man, should is the whole world in and of itself. my problems with the word should. But yeah, I think, and yeah, so advice is one. Sympathy is another one. Sympathy is, again, something that can have a place and can be important. The way I understand sympathy is like sort of what I said before, taking the other person's emotions into myself and feeling them, and then becoming so enwrapped in these emotions that I'm actually shifting the focus from them now onto what I'm feeling,
Okay,
which is like mirroring.
I understand what you say. I already lived something like this. Yeah, it reminds me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's something I think I often do. And it's another trap. Yeah, again, it's not a bad thing, it just isn't empathy, it just doesn't fill that need. Another one is interrogating, like asking lots of questions, trying to get information, like, and this can sort of be, again, something I fall into, like, what happened, why did you do that, like, or why did that happen, why did that thing go wrong, rather than just like being. It's like, it's almost like, for me, it feels like kind of diverting away from uncomfortable emotions into like cerebral information, which again just doesn't fulfill the need of empathy. There are lots of others. Eddie, can you help me out? I'm drawing
Yeah,
a blank.
sure. Yeah, so you named advice, sympathy, um, and interrogating, and also there are two things that are one the opposite of the other. that we commonly do. One is to upbring, I tell you something and then you say, but this is nothing. There is people that pass through stuff that is much worse than this.
Yeah,
But you're
one upping.
strong. Yeah, you're strong. You're gonna pass that. And what we common there is also a facial expression of not getting the of holding some emotion, which is something like this. We do this to shut down an emotion, not to express something, quite often. And when I tell someone something and I am looking for understanding, and this person tells me, yeah, but it's okay, you get it solved. I often will do like, yeah, okay, and I will keep it to myself, and I keep needing understanding and empathy. And the other one, which is the opposite, no, uh, I think I mixed the shutting down and upbringing. No, upbringing is like when we say, everything, you are good. Uh, I was talking more about shutting down now. Yeah, that's
I think you started with I think it's called one-upping.
mm-hmm.
You start one-upping. Yeah, you started with one-upping and then shifted into shutting down. But it's okay. We got 2 for 1.
Yeah, but yeah, move on. Life has to continue. Move on. This is like one-upping, and yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
that's nothing. I had this terrible problem yesterday. Like what you're feeling, it doesn't even matter yet. It's just like again shifting focus away from that person who really needs empathy.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other one that you remember?
I have the book here. I'm just gonna have a look. If I
Yeah.
can find it. But
So.
yeah, it's so easy to fall into these like knee-jerk reactions. I think these are the things we kind of learn in school, like in one way or another, rather than learning to just like be there with somebody. I've got the wrong book. 1 second, you can keep talking, Eddie.
Mm-hmm. So
So
go
I
on.
can ask something. So like in resume or from what I'm hearing about empathy, it's like it's more important the majority of time, not to say all time, to just be there and not necessarily like try to enter in the space of that person or try to resolve their his or her problems and etc. Right? Just feel like I don't know, receive the or see the feelings of the other person.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Difficult.
Thank you, Anna.
Like the more important the person is for you, I think, like if it is um, a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or business partner, or family, I think that the more I will have that need of showing to the other person or wanting the other person to know and to see what is that thing that is so passionate for me. And yeah, it may be like a challenge to kind of accept
Mm-hmm.
that the other person maybe doesn't want to see this thing that is so passionate. Um,
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Anna. Um, Yeah, I would like to contribute to what you just brought, because you raise other 2 points that I wanted to talk about, which is one is, why is it actually easier to give empathy to someone that we don't know at all sometimes than giving empathy to our parents or to our partner, and it's easier to give empathy to someone that we don't know at all.
yeah.
This is one question, and the other one is so. Why is it, what was the other question that raised in my mind now? I forgot about. Yeah. Do we want to explore a little bit, Jess? Why is it easier to give empathy to people that we don't know? And then I'll remind the other question that I wanted to link with what Anna was saying.
Yeah, sure. Wow, this is a really difficult question to answer, but I think personally, I think I tend to place expectations upon the people that are close to me. Yeah, and sometimes these expectations are based on our existing relationship, like what's happened in the past, and sometimes they're placed because of what I think a relationship like that should look like what a romantic relationship should look like, for example. And so sometimes that expectation, a lot of the time for me, that expectation blocks empathy because I feel the need to have some kind of control over the relationship. And yeah, this often blocks my ability to see the other person's needs because I identify so much with them or with our relationship, or I rely so much on that person to be a fulfiller of my needs that I kind of block off that the existence that they might have needs that are different to mine. So yeah, this is something I'm really trying to work on personally at the moment. I don't know if you could tell from that interaction, but yeah, just having more space, like having more understanding for human as I am a whole human, and that they, have needs as I have needs, and yeah, that like neither of them is more valuable than the other. And yeah, in terms of like having empathy for strangers, our lives are just simply less entwined, so I can, say like, oh wow, I'm fully here with you and present in this moment, and then 10 minutes later leave and get back to my life, and not ever think about them again, potentially. So sometimes I feel, yeah, that's easier because there's less investment, maybe. But I would also argue that giving empathy to the people who we're close to it's much more of an investment, but it has much higher returns. So yeah, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor.
Thank
What
you,
are your
Jess.
thoughts, Eddie? I actually would love to hear, or Jean, if you have
Yeah.
something.
I will let John say what he wants first, and then I will make a compliment.
Yes, it's funny. It's really resonate in me. This that you say investments and thing you get back. It's like but things on stake when you get uh, when you offer empathy and but in a way, but I felt multiple time that when it's actually can when two sides of the communication can say, okay, there is nothing on stake, and like we know go like there is a uh, how do you say? Yeah, nothing on stake. Yeah, yeah, pas d'enjeu in French. Like nothing, you're betting nothing, so you can win nothing, but you can lose nothing. And then actually, it feels like everything can be said, and but those kind of conversations happens really rarely. I feel like, and in a way, I think like yes, the the more we actually ask for empathy, because we think like yeah, there's an expectation like the other side should know us, uh, should know how we feel or we think, and actually the more we ask in a way, I think the less we are actually giving, because if we ask something from the other side, it's something that we are not giving to ourselves from our side, because I feel like empathy is not something that we can receive, ask for the other side to give, but the only power control on this is on the giving side.
Thank you, Jean. Yeah, So it feels like you were meant to talk before me because you brought again things that I wanted to say. Um, yeah, for me, this has many explanations, possible explanations, and complementary explanations. One is from the fact that we, as we create expectations, we create roles that close us in a way of behaving, and we tend to block on this. And when it is with someone else from outside, we don't have this yet. We don't have these roles that are borders from our perspective, from our awareness. Um, and still in the same thing, when we have this, yeah, um, so when we have, yeah, so and we have this mirror from the people that are very close to us, and these triggering points that are triggering for both of us. When I meet someone in the street and this person is telling me a story where they needed understanding or whatever, it is a story of them. I'm not triggered by what they are telling me normally. And often in a relation between or partners, or with the parents, and these close relations with friends, even, both people are triggered by the situation in different ways, and that's why it's much harder. And this brings me to the other question, that is what to do when both need empathy, because that's most of the times the case in these relations. um, and as Jean said, it's hard because, but here we are to explore it together. We cannot ask someone for empathy. We When we ask something, we need to ask something that the person can do, and that they can understand how to do that. If I ask you to give me empathy, you might be like, how do I do that? I even might be willing to offer you empathy, but I don't know how to do it. So what we can ask for, maybe, so I have an example how I would approach someone to just, listen to me. Let's say that it's the person that involved in the situation. I would maybe approach something like this. Um, Referring to that situation, that something happened, that this and this happened, I felt really unresolved, and I felt needing to talk. And oh, I'm sorry, I got a bit lost now. Can someone help me? To
So you were talking about how to practically ask somebody for empathy, like giving them something
yes.
they can practically do.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, so I am still with that situation.
Eddie?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had
You're
a
back.
technical problem, but I think now it's okay. Do you hear me?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. I was saying, so that situation that happened between us is still very alive on me, and I I I I wonder if you could sit with me and just be there to listen to what I have to say. I don't particularly need us to solve the situation. I really just feel like I need to express what is inside of me, and I need to communicate it to you. So if you can just sit with me for 5 minutes and let me talk to you, and just let me talk and look at me, try to be focused on me. Oh my God, what is happening to my internet? Are you
It's okay,
still
we can
listening?
hear you.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Um,
Okay, now you're back.
yes, I'm back. If it happens again, I will close the Zoom and come back to the meeting. But yeah, so I would ask for the person to be there, to be present, and to listen to me, and to look at me, and not to be doing something else, and not try to give me any advice, just to be there. And I would ask this person as well to, after and I would let this person know that once they hear me, he she or he hear me, I will be willing to also hear their side. You know, this is very important. So the person will be like, okay, I can be there, but I also have a lot to say, you know. Should I be just listening to you? I also have a lot to say. Okay, so let's do like this. Just be there, listen to me, let me say everything that I have to say. Once I feel like I communicated everything, then we switch the roles. I will be listening to you, you will tell me everything that you have to say, and we will keep going on this direction until both of us feel like we have been heard. Once we both feel like have been heard, then we will design the strategy for change, not before that. So but yeah, so still room to talk about what to do when we both need empathy, right? This is one strategy, which is to bring the situation with the person, telling, hey, I need empathy, but I know you might be needing empathy as well. Let's work on it together. But sometimes it's even harder than this. We are so blocked that we cannot even look at the other person, or you know, we are very triggered, both very triggered, and you know, the communication is very far away. And what should we do then? What do we do when all the parts need empathy? And yeah, um, do you want to?
Yeah, may I?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think this is where it's so beautiful to know, like, if your need is empathy, you're not stuck on getting it from one person. Because as you said, Eddie, if you're both in a point where you just can't like come together, where you can't connect, where you both need empathy but don't feel that you can give it to each other, like if you were only relying on that person, then you would be stuck forever, both of you, in a loop of empathylessness. And this is where it's beautiful to like be able to reach out to other people, maybe like take a break, you know, take a time out from whatever situation you're in together, and just like call a friend and say, hey, would you be willing, like I'm feeling a lot right now, there's a lot of very intense emotion in me, would you be willing, like do you have the energy or the space to be able to just listen, or to be able to give me your thoughts on this if you want like advice as part of that as well, or like even just reflection. You know, I think reflection can be a really strong tool for empathy. As you were saying, Eddie, earlier, like active listening, having somebody mirror back to you what you're experiencing can be a really strong tool. And then, yeah, there's also like self-empathy, which is kind of what we touched on earlier. I think this is like such an underrated skill, like self-soothing, self-empathy, self-compassion. Like to be able to, I don't know, for me, sometimes it's just like cuddling up in bed with myself, you know, like hugging myself almost. Or sometimes it's distraction. Sometimes it's like reading a book and giving my mind space to kind of like rest from whatever turmoil is happening. Sometimes back from it from a moment can be an act of self-empathy, like recognizing like, okay, this like happened in the back. Oh, hey Eddie, you're back. Yeah, just find no problem, finding ways of self-soothing, giving self-empathy. Journaling actually for me is my like number one self-empathy tool, like just writing out what I'm experiencing and just like processing it in words, like, but without needing somebody else to give space to it, just giving space for it myself. So yeah, when we recognize there are other strategies for empathy, it doesn't have to be with that person in that moment. Like I feel like I feel freer and more at ease sometimes to meet that need for empathy.
Yeah. I want to compliment, and here I even bring a bit of a permaculture mindset. In permaculture, we say that any function should be acted by different elements, and one element should act different functions. And to our context, this means it's not a problem that you have one person that answers to many needs of yours. It's not a problem, but you should bear in mind that it will be healthy for you to have many strategies to answer for each of these needs. So if you rely on just one strategy to meet a need of yours, and in this case, let's say that every time I need for empathy, I go to my partner to ask for it. This puts everybody in a very delicate situation, because you don't know other ways to look for it, and your partner sometimes not be able to might not be able to answer for that. So yeah, try to find different strategies, and we named here talking with someone else. We just talked about the fact that it is easier to give empathy to to a stranger that is out of the situation. Exactly. So look for another person and ask for this listening, active listening, or give your time. You can maybe hug yourself, and yeah, and give yourself the space, give yourself the everything that you would ask for this person. Just try to name everything that you would ask and give it to yourself. So here we're naming some strategies, and the limit of this is your creativity. You might find you know different strategies for meeting for this need of yours.
Can I add something?
Please.
Of course.
Okay. So I was thinking, like, I'm also, I think I'll be all my life in a self-discovering path. But um, I was listening, like, for example, if you are with someone, with a partner, then and you are in need for empathy. Um, One of the strategies, for example, that Eddie said was hug yourself. And so I was thinking, like, I'm saying like extreme moment, um, because maybe it happened to me. Like, for example, when I'm on the premenstruation period phase, then like my hormones get really, I don't know, crazy, fuzzy, and I get sometimes, not always, but sometimes I kind of feel that I lose a bit of the control of on my emotions. And what I was thinking um, is like, if you if there is someone that is very it is very anxious, for example, but I'm thinking at the same time in the answer that Eddie said that, well, we have to always find a strategy. So for example, for me, like, later in life I discovered that artistic stuff, like for example working with the wood or with the clay, it's incredibly, like, healing or calm down to me to work with hands, painting, designing, or whatever things with hands. Um, so yeah, I was thinking that it's always we have to find strategies, but I also met some other people that I see that maybe they have the same problem, like they are very anxious and very, like, hyperactive, and it triggers me that same feeling. It's like I get a little bit stressed or hyperactive too, and it's like what um, Jazzy, it's Jazzy, right?
Does, yeah.
Yeah, Jazz was saying that it's like I want to also help that person, but then I kind of remember of those moments in me when I can feel so anxious that I get to a point where it's like, oh, I can't find a solution. And like, for example, to hug yourself on those extreme moments where the emotions are roller coasters, like going up and down very quickly. I can't do that.
Mhm.
Hug it doesn't work with me. But maybe if I don't know, like throwing a stone at some wall or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think,
you.
yeah, this
Thank
is
you, Anna.
beautiful. I think, yeah, like it's not a one size fits all. And that's why it's so nice to know, like,
Mhm.
if you have a need, yeah, like you find your own strategies, like what works for me, you
Exactly.
know, and what works for Eddie could be totally different than what works for you. Maybe empathy, self-empathy for you looks like throwing a stone at a wall. And if it is,
yeah.
fuck yes, you know that. Like you have a
Mhm.
strategy that's amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's not about like a textbook answer. There is no textbook answer. It's really
Mhm.
individual.
It may look more like aggressive in the process, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I guess.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is just important that we realize what we have in common is our need for empathy, our need for calmness. And this is a ground for everything. But then the strategies, they are, as I said, the limit is your creativity. You can find the most bizarre strategies to give yourself the need, to meet the need. Yeah, so we're coming to the end here of the session, and I would like to invite you to, and I know there is a much more. I know we could be here much longer talking and going deeper and deeper in the subject and in other subjects that raise with this one. But I invite you to close together now. And for this, we can make again a cycle of silence. I will ring the bell, and then we just bring back our attention to what is present on us, how we are feeling, uh, and also to noticing everything that changed during this session. So let's share a minute of silence now. Hi, Kaya. Okay. So let's make a round now for closing. And please bring any feedback or suggestion that you have, or any aha that you had, something that you discovered, anything that is very important to you to mention of how you are leaving the session, something that is present on you. We make a round, so everybody has the opportunity to say a word before we close. Whoever feels like starting, please go on, and then the others, please follow it.
I would
Okay.
like to start.
Uh,
Oh, John, please
go
go
on.
ahead.
No, go on.
Okay, I just wanted to say how grateful I am for this experience, and I feel really full and really touched by how present and how open and how trusting all of you have been thank you for this, and Eddie, of course, thank you so much. Yeah, I love people so much, and I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to share this moment with you guys.
Thank you. So me too. I feel really happy, really grateful to have been with you all tonight. I really this thing we both came about the it's not about it's not empathy is something that how do you say no matter if we fail, the fact is that we try like it really talked to me. It really made this haha like for me, like of course it's like everything else. It's about presence and awareness of and to put light on myself and what's happening around and on this tool and this ability. Yeah. And so I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for you, everybody, every one of you to be here. It's really nice to see you. And maybe another time for another topic. Not that fast. It will always be applied humanness.
What? No, I didn't understand the last.
It will always be what?
Applied humanness. Like
Applied?
Humanidade
Humanidade,
aplicada.
exato.
Eu não percebi. Já.
Humanidade aplicado.
Isso.
Aplicada. Não sei.
Okay.
Yeah.
wasn't English.
Yeah, applied humanity. Yeah.
So Mel, Kaya, Anna, who wants to follow?
Mel? Kaya.
Yes, Hi. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, for me, I was listening with one ear. First half, I was shopping. I had to get us some food, but yeah, it was urgent. But it's really nice to listen the second half, and it also get some reminders. And I like to remind myself or to find out what is actually which are the ways I give myself empathy. That's what you are talking about in the end. And I thought, oh yeah, it's true. I think about actually not only one way. This is what I want to keep in mind, and not to stay on one track. Like for example, I share a lot with Mel, so might be a big buffer of empathy, I guess, for the world and me, between the world and me. And yeah, but what if, for example, she wasn't there? I have to imagine, okay, yeah, what do I actually do? And no, what do I actually use myself already, or what else would I use on plus, on top, you know? Thank you for the little inputs, and yeah, great.
And me was great to, first of all, was great to see you again for the one I knows, and nice to meet you for the one I don't know. And what I will take with me is, yeah, you said about to try to develop our own strategy for own needs towards a trigger or whatever. And so I think this is what I would like to keep in mind, to maybe think about my own strategy to get my self-compassion, my self-empathy. And yeah, I think it's really nice to make this kind of workshop, and so I'm glad to be part of it. So thank you for that.
Okay, so Eddie, you want to speak or?
Go on.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah, well, it's always very good to listen to both of you and all of you. And the acting is really like a cereja no topo do bolo. Não sei como é que se diz em inglês. Mas pronto, então.
There is an English expression for it. The
I don't know the word.
The top of the cake.
Oh, like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
The icing on the cake. Yeah, the acting was the icing on the cake. For me, it was really nice. And yeah, it's like all of you said, this to talk about empathy, it reminds me this talk that a lot of times I feel that I can connect with some people very easily and understand their needs, but it's like a challenge to like understand very different people from me, the needs of very different people, like really totally different, or even to express myself and I don't know, make myself understandable for them. And yeah, what we talk about, sometimes just being present and just listening and all of that, it's a good reminder. And also what Kaya said about finding our own strategies to difficulties we have when maybe we got used that someone important is near, and we got used that that person is helping me on this or on that, but if they are not there, then what strategies do we have? So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I love to hear you. I'm very I feel calm now. I feel my attention very strong as well. I feel like this session amplified my awareness in this moment about myself and about what is happening around me. I'm grateful for having this experience and to be learning with you always. I love the fact that we planned it to be very loose, and so we could integrate what was coming. And this was particularly, I particularly enjoyed not to have such a strong structure for it. Yes. So just to close, so me and Jess, we have Facebook page, and Jess, she has her website. I am soon having a website as well. If you, we will keep having our contents and other activities. So if you want to keep following up and see what is going on next, then check it up. It is there in the event, but we can also write here again in the yeah, exactly. Jess just wrote in the chat. We all send a big warm hug and kisses and love and everything for the others all together. Mwah, mwah, for you. Feel hugged and see you soon.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.